Been a big day, Dave.
Hasn't. What?
Bit tight. Ooh, shit out.
Hey guys,
Hey, Shawnee.
Sean,
How you doing?
g'day.
How you going?
how's your day been?
Good.
Good, ready
Self?
for a workout?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
beauty.
How you
Awesome.
going?
Let's go get started. How you feeling?
Bit tight?
Bit tired?
bit
Yeah.
tired.
Been sitting down for a while?
Yep.
Well, the first thing we'll do, why don't we lengthen out the whole back of our body. So think about from the back of the head right down to the hamstrings. We'll do some standing roll downs.
Yep.
You know, how often during the day do you actually take the time to sort of roll down and lengthen out your whole body? Probably not much. So
Not much.
if we're just standing still with each other like this, and we're just going to keep our feet evenly placed. Yeah, take the hats off. They might fall off if you roll down. Soft knees. And I want you to imagine that your spine is made up of all these vertebrae. And what we're going to do, we're going to breathe in through the nose. And as we breathe out, we're going to peel those vertebrae down. And we're just going to collapse the spine and just do this to where you feel comfortable, okay? Everybody's different. Everybody has a different range of movement. So when you're down the bottom, I want you to breathe in through the nose. And as you start breathing out, just start restacking that spine back up into an imaginary wall. When you get to the top, just breathe in through your nose again. Nice, slow breath. And as you breathe out through your mouth, just roll down. And on this one, just see if you can go a little bit further. Don't challenge yourself too much. Still make it so it's comfortable, but you will notice that you can lengthen out a bit more. And what that is, that's just your hamstrings lengthening out. So starting to mobilize after they've been still for a long period of time. You'll breathe out to come back up. And let's do one more. So breathe in through your nose, and as you breathe out, chin the chest and rolling down. Now, of course, if you're getting any pain in your back doing this, like your spine, don't do it. You can modify that and breathe out to come back up once you get down the bottom. And what you've just done there, if you just started using oxygen and you started lengthening out the spine there. Fantastic. Okay, so when we're sitting down at a desk, not only is it our hamstrings that aren't moving, it's our hip flexors as well. So why don't we find a spot to take a knee? Somewhere soft, if it's a patch of grass or a patch of soft dirt, we're gonna take a knee and we're gonna bring one leg out in front, just like we're at a toolbox meeting. Okay, now, with the leg that's forward, so it's your left hand, just put it around where your belt buckle is. So grab your belt buckle, good, and with your other hand, just grab your buttock, your other buttock. I want you to draw your belt buckle up to your ribs and pull your buttock down to the floor. And what you're gonna feel here is a stretch from your hip down into your quads. Now that muscle, think about the angle that joint's been at all day. It's been sitting there, so those muscles have been shortened and still. So they're not moving at all. So they're gonna get tighter and tighter the longer you leave them without stretching. So we need to mobilize the front of this hip joint. Quite commonly, people that get really tight in their hip joints get really bad lower backs because it pulls their pelvis forward. So it also shortens their back muscles and puts the spine into extension. So it's really important to keep stretching this throughout the day. Let's swap sides. About 30 seconds to a minute, depending on how much time you've got or how good the conversation is between the two of you. Good. And pull up at the front, pull down at the back. You feel that nice stretch there. Drawing into that belt buckle line, keeping your ribs down. About 30 seconds. All right, let's stand up and open up the chest a bit. Down, get your elbow at 90 degrees. Dave, you can come across this fence and you can take a step like this. And all I want you guys to do is while you've got that arm next to your shoulder and your elbow at 90 degrees, just take a gentle step forward. And what you'll feel is the muscles that cross this shoulder joint. So your anterior shoulder and your pec or your chest, you'll just feel them stretch. Only take it to about 60 to 70% stretch. You don't want to overdo it and strain the shoulder joint. And I want you to think about the way that you sit all day. And when you're driving home from work, where do you feel tight normally?
Yeah, I usually feel tight through the shoulders and the neck area when
through the
I've driven for a long
Yeah.
period of time. Yeah.
How about you, Darren?
Yeah,
Same thing?
same. Yep.
So think about where you spend most of your day. You're either sitting at your desk, you're either driving your car, and for guys on site, they're sitting at, inside a machine there. So their shoulders are normally rolled forward. So one of the reasons for tightness or pain through the neck and the shoulders is because we're in this posture for an extended period of time throughout the day. So we need to spend more time lengthening these muscles rather than keeping them tight and strong. Okay, so a good way to do it is by doing this anterior shoulder chest stretch. So you're just feeling a slight stretch there.
You feel that opening up straight away.
Feel that opening up. Good. Swap sides now, so turn around and face the opposite direction. Once again, the elbow joint at 90 degrees and just take a step forward. Feel that stretch there.
Oh yeah.
Great. So why don't we just get in a position where our feet are just a little bit wider than hip width apart. I want you to imagine there's a step behind you and you're just gonna poke your bum out the back as though you're gonna touch that step. But at the same time, I want you to imagine you're reaching forward to pick something up. So if I'm gonna sit down and pick up something from the ground, as you can see, I'm opening up my hips. Breathe in on your way down and breathe out on your way up. Good. If you were finding it hard to get your knees down into that position, what you'd simply do is get a chair behind you, or maybe, you know, the bucket of a stationary machine like so, and you could just a little tap on that. So now you've got a bit of support there. So it's more like getting out of a chair rather than squatting down to pick something up. And I think we can all relate to that, most definitely. So sitting down and then gliding back up. Sitting down and then pushing back up. So why don't we come over to the fence here? So the three of us are going to face the fence. Okay, so what we're going to do is come back with me. We're going to imagine we're about to do a squat. We're going to take one leg slightly off the ground, and that rear leg is going to reach out towards the calves behind us, and we're just going to grab a hold of the fence for some support down the bottom. And then I want you to stand back up to a tall position. I want you to go back down, keeping a tall spine, just reaching forward, and then going back up into a tall position. If that gives you any pain, or if you're feeling way too unstable doing it, what you could simply do is give yourself more support, so you could walk in a bit closer, hold on to the fence with for a bit more support, and just work at just hinging on that hip joint. Hinging on that hip joint like so. And if it's too hard doing it on one leg, you could simply just poke your bum out and grab the fence and stand back up at the top. And what we're doing there is we're really lengthening out those hamstrings down the back, and we're using these buttock muscles to come back up. Lengthening the hamstrings, using the buttocks to come back up. Fantastic. So what you'd normally do there is, we go through 10 each side, or about 10 reps if you're doing a double leg RDL like that. When we were stretching before, we were stretching the front of our shoulders. Remember when we put our arm up onto the fence, okay? Now that's stretching the front, but what also we want to do is strengthen the postural muscles on the back. Now, in a gym, you'd see people doing this with a cable or a dumbbell, doing the rows, or some rings or a TRX. But what we could do on site is a thing called a wall angel. So I want you both to pop both elbows out at 90 degrees like so. Now, the first thing I want you to do is pull your ribs down and draw in through that belt buckle line. So what we're doing there is we're activating these really important core muscles first. And I just want you to slowly slide above your head and then breathe in to come back down. But at the same time, you've got to keep your elbows against the surface you're against, okay? So drive the elbows into the fence the whole way up and come back down. All right, let's do 10 of those. So breathing out, going back up, stay connected, and come back down. Good. And what you should feel there, and you tell me if you're feeling it, you should feel like those muscles around the back are being activated to keep those shoulder blades back and to open up those shoulder joints.
Yeah, I can feel it down through the back of my spine,
Back
right
of
down
your
to
spine? Yeah.
the
So those
back of my
muscles there
belt.
that pull the shoulder blades back, as opposed to allowing them to be rolled forward, really important muscles.
And what if you had sort of like a shoulder injury or something like that you have to play around with?
Yeah, so if you had a shoulder injury, you might do this laying down the ground and use gravity, or even put something under your arms to roll your arms up against. Yeah, so some sort of rolling device, like some PVC pipe or some foam rollers.
Yep.
Yeah. Assuming this machine's stationary, no one's using it at the moment, you're going to use the track as your push-up.
Yep.
Dave's going to do his push-ups on the ground. Darren, you're going to be doing push-ups with your hands elevated. On your way down, you're going to allow your shoulder blades to glide together, and then you're going to push up and protract those shoulders at the top. Protract right out at the top. Good. When you go down, let the shoulder blades come together, and when you push up, protract those shoulder blades, and the whole time keeping your belt buckle line engaged as well. All right, and then Dave, you're going to do a push-up on your toes, okay, on your hands and toes. So we want to make sure that we're pulling into the belt buckle line, I want you to breathe in as you go down and push, breathing out. Breathe in as you go down and push, breathing out. Now imagine that we don't have a machine on site. You guys keep going. I can jump down like Dave, but do this on my knees. So my knees and my hands, and I breathe in on my way down, and I push up, breathing out like so. Breathing in, pushing up, breathing out like so. The most important thing here is to keep a nice tall spine. So from the back of the head right down to the legs is a tall spine. We don't want to be dropping in through the hips or arching the spine too much. Darren's doing perfect over here. He's got his heels elevated and he's got his belt buckle engaged and he's breathing out as he pushes. Excellent, guys, well done. Have a bit of a rest from that. And you're just gonna go down and hold for me. Dave wants you to go and hold there for me as well. Excellent, holding that position there. Now, rather than doing a push-up here, all we're gonna do is stay in a stationary position. You're gonna draw your ribs right down. You're gonna tuck your imaginary tail between your legs and hold that position there, breathing in through the nose and breathing out through the mouth. That's fantastic. I want you to touch the opposite shoulder with the opposite hand. So touch one shoulder with the opposite hand, good, and then go across to the other side. Keeping the hips as still as possible. So trying to avoid those hips rocking back and forth. That's the challenge. While you're taking one hand off the ground, keeping the body nice and stable or level. It's fantastic. Got shaking a bit there, Darren. That means that these deep core muscles are working really well. That's great. And have a breather there, guys. Fantastic. Let's do one more core exercise. Okay, so one thing we are required to do on site is to be able to pick things up safely. And unfortunately for us, sometimes you can't always go into somewhere, you know, in a square position. You might have to move to the side to get in there. So it's really important we're able to stabilize ourselves from the side. So find yourselves a clean surface. You're gonna have your knees bent like so, with your elbow directly under your shoulder. You're gonna drive your arms up to the ceiling and you're gonna pop your hips up like so and hold that position there. Keep your knees on the ground. So drive your knees into the ground, good, and stabilizing up through here. So what this is doing is using these muscles on the side of your body, these external obliques. Feet together and up, and keep your body nice and square, using these muscles to hold yourself up and drawing into that belt buckle line. Can you feel that?
Yep.
Good. Good thing about that is that you can really focus on those muscles because it's not as hard. Darren, you can swap sides now. Good. Drive your knees into the floor, arm up to the ceiling, keeping hips up and drawing into the belt buckle line and tucking that imaginary tail between your legs. Dave, you can swap sides. Arm up to the ceiling, or the sky in this instance, good. Holding there, drawing into the front. Excellent. And Darren, you can rest. And Dave, you can rest as well. So jump up, bring it in. So there we go, we just got through a nice workout in the car park here at site. How did you feel going through those different movements after being, you know, stuck on site all morning?
Yeah, I don't feel as tight now, and I feel a little more open and less loose, more loose, sorry, than tight. So yeah, feel good, and I've worked up a bit of a sweat in the 10 minutes as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep, heart rate's up and blood's pumping, that's good.
Yeah, so if you think of movement as movement snacks, so throughout the day, getting little snacks of exercise that over long term, you know, make a big difference.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you have to go to the gym and do an hour's workout. It's about incorporating daily movement, even if you've got an active job that's perceived active, but as we know that we're sitting still for large periods of time throughout the day. Well done.
Fantastic, thanks Sean.
Thank you.
Appreciate
I'll
it.
get back to work.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Better now, Dave.
You always do though.
You do. Yeah.